Hello friends, this is John Ross at Amazing Facts. We are just delighted to be able to visit here in Serbia and get some time to share a little bit about Amazing Facts Ministry and what we're all about. Well, Amazing Facts is a media ministry located in Sacramento, California. The Amazing Facts Ministry has been around for about 50 years. It started with a short radio program, about 15 minutes in length. It would always begin each radio program by sharing a little amazing fact from nature or from science. And then, with that amazing fact, the speaker would bring out a spiritual lesson. Well, the ministry began and grew quite rapidly, stretching all the way across the United States on various radio stations. In addition to a radio broadcasting ministry, Amazing Facts also prepares resources for people to study to help them understand the Bible better. We have a correspondence Bible school. It's actually online where people can go and study the Bible for themselves. It is also available in sending lessons back and forth, and people fill it in at home and then they send it off. As the years progressed and the Amazing Facts ministry began to grow, we added the media component of television. And we began to create different TV programs and broadcast those programs not only in the United States, but around the world. Once a week, we currently have a radio program called Bible Answers Live, where people call in with their Bible questions. The ministry has expanded to become international. We have media programs and training schools in multiple countries, including in Africa, in the Philippines, in Europe, also in China, and also in Indonesia. And it's exciting to see what God is doing through these various Bible-based programs to touch the lives of individuals. You see, we are convinced that the commission given to us by Jesus is to take the gospel to the world. Jesus said, "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached unto all the world, then the end will come." And in Revelation chapter 14, we have the three angels' messages, and the first angel says the everlasting gospel is to be preached to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people. So we recognize that before Jesus comes, the whole world needs to have an opportunity to hear the gospel. And we believe media is going to play an important role in sharing the everlasting gospel to the world, just like the printing press played a very important role in multiplying the Bibles, making that available for people to read and study on their own. You know, it's exciting to see how God is performing miracles in helping to get this work done. In a predominantly Muslim country, Amazing Facts is associated with a group of Christians who are committed to doing what they can to help people in their area live a healthy life. There are some significant health needs in this country and in the area where these folks are. So they decided to go out into the community and visit with their neighbors and their friends, sharing with them some biblical health principles that they could apply for their life. Two young men in particular went to one area and they were speaking to different groups of people. They were visiting in people's homes, sharing with them some practical health principles found in the Bible. Well, there were a group of people in that same village who were very unhappy that these Christians were coming, sharing these health principles. They felt somewhat threatened, and they wanted to get rid of them. Well, these two men went from place to place doing their job, not aware of the hostility and the hatred of these men in that same village. Now, every day for lunch, these two young men would stop at a roadside cafe to eat their lunch. Well, they were doing this for several weeks, and one day they stopped at that same cafe, sat down, and ordered their lunch to eat. While they were eating their lunch, the owner of that little cafe came over to them and said to them, "What are you guys doing here in town?" So they explained. They said, "We're sharing wonderful health principles to people. We want them to be healthy, and these are principles that you can find in the Bible." Well, the owner of the cafe said, "Well, I want you to know that there are some people in this town that are very unhappy that you're sharing these principles." And they said, "Oh, we didn't realize that." Matter of fact, the owner said to them, "They're wanting to beat you up. They want to get rid of you. They're not happy that you're here sharing these principles with our people." Well, that surprised the two young men, and they said, "Well, we've not had any problems with anyone." And the owner of the cafe said, well, that is because of that tall man dressed in white that is always with you wherever you go. And the two young men looked at each other and they said, well, there is no other person that is with us. It's just the two of us going from house to house, sharing these health principles. And the owner, he insisted, he said, no, there is a third man that is always with you. He's tall and he's always wearing white. And he follows you wherever you go. And the two young men then asked the owner of the cafe, they said, well, where is this man dressed in white? And the owner of the cafe said to the two men, he says, well, he's standing outside. He never comes in the cafe, but he always waits for you. And when you leave, he follows you wherever you go. Well, friends, the truth is that those two young men had never seen anybody dressed in white following them, but they quickly began to realize who that man was. You see, that was an angel. That was their guardian angel that was going with them wherever they went. The other people could see the angel, but they could not see the angel. Well, after that experience, they went back to the little group that they were working with, and they fell upon their knees and they prayed and they said, Lord, thank you so much for sending your angel to take care of us, to help us do the work you are calling us to do. You know, friends, it's encouraging when we hear about these stories, how that God is working in a marvelous way to help in the preaching and sharing of the gospel, a message that will bring hope to the world. Now, when we talk about gospel, the word gospel literally means good news. It was first used by the Greek-speaking residents of Alexandria who were dependent upon grain brought to them from Phoenicia. When these ships laden with grain would come into the harbor, somebody had the job of going throughout the town and proclaiming the news that the grain ships had arrived. This work of proclaiming the news became known as gospel. So when the Bible writers were looking for a word to describe the good news that Jesus, the living bread, has come down to this earth to give us life, they used the word gospel. It means good news. You see, friends, God has good news to share with the world. Those who are hopeless, God has good news. Those who are sick, God has good news. Those who are discouraged, God has good news. Those who are facing difficulties in their life, whether that be finance or whether that be career or whether that be family, the gospel has good news for everyone. You see, the good news is that there is a future that we can look forward to filled with all of the wonderful blessings that God has given. We have a home, not here in this earth, but a home in heaven. And Jesus is coming soon to take us to that heavenly home where there will be no more pain, no more sorrow, no more sickness. But Jesus will make all things new. You see, for the Christian friend, we have hope. The Bible speaks of heaven as a very real place. The Bible describes it as having streets of gold. It talks about a beautiful garden with the tree of life. The Bible tells us that Jesus will come back. He'll come back in the clouds of glory with all the angels. And when Jesus comes again, the dead in Christ will be resurrected. The righteous will be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. They'll be caught up to meet Jesus in the air. And together with Christ, the redeemed will go to that heavenly home. Could you imagine what it's like there walking on those streets of gold? Can you imagine what it must be like singing in the angel choir? Or meeting some great Bible hero, maybe talking to Moses or Joseph or David. How glorious that could be. What about meeting loved ones, those that we've laid to rest in the grave, that have believed in Christ? Well, to meet them there in the heavens and forever to be with them and those that love Jesus, how glorious that'll be. But the greatest reward of all is finally there on that sea of glass before the golden throne, when we get to look up into the face of our God, the one who has made us and made all things, to realize that all pain and sorrow and sickness is over, and forever we are in that home that God has prepared for us. Oh, friends, how glorious that'll be. That is the Christian hope. That is our courage to hold on, to press on, to be faithful, because Jesus is coming and we have a home in the future. I want to encourage you, wherever you might be in your life, get to know Jesus. Get to know the one who is coming back and receive the gospel, the good news that can bring hope to your soul. May God bless you.